Welcome to Behavioral Health Today. I'm your host, Dr. Graham Taylor. My guests today are Molly Oshinsky and Morgan Marquez. Molly and Morgan are the founders of Pickle System, a hands-off resource for BCBAs, special educators, and parents of individuals with disabilities, providing animated video models for a variety of living skills. Molly is the CEO of Pickle System and a board-certified behavior analyst and licensed behavior analyst. She is currently pursuing her PhD at the University of Texas at Austin. She is also the owner of Oshinsky Behavior Therapy and Consulting, which provides behavioral therapy to individuals with autism and developmental disabilities. Morgan is the COO and the Data and Analytics Program Manager at Pickle System. Morgan received her MS in Data Analytics from Rockhurst University and her BBA in Marketing and Economics from Kansas State University. Her career has been focused on uniting business objectives with data, analytics, technology, and automation. We're excited to have Molly and Morgan with us today to discuss Pickle System and the effectiveness of personalized image-based content for individuals with disabilities. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It is so nice to have you. Yeah, so nice to have you here. Well, I love, beginnings and what inspired you guys to get interested in working together. You, just for our listeners, these two ladies are sisters and best friends, as I heard them say before we got on the line. But what inspired you in your interest to work with individuals with learning challenges, and kind of how you came together to talk about this and form this company?
Yeah, so this started all the way back when I was in 5th grade, and I taught a peer with special needs to play balloon hockey in PE class. And seeing the joy on his face, I just knew like I was meant to work with this population for the rest of my life. And
Nice.
so fast forward 15 years, I'm now a behavior analyst. I'm working in the field, and I'm having parents ask me to teach all of these really intimate skills. Like I
Yes.
had a 21-year-old asking me to teach them how to pee standing up. And I'm like,
Yes.
hey, I've never done that. I don't know what that is. How do I teach that? And, other intimate skills too, like menstrual care, showering,
Yes.
all sorts of stuff. And it was just really hard to find resources there to actually help me teach these skills. And so started on my PhD track from there, and was researching ways to teach these intimate skills.
Yeah.
And video models are effective, as I found. And so then we created animated video models because I was not going to film myself doing menstrual care. And I didn't know any male in my life that wanted to be filmed being standing up. And so basically, I created this idea for my research purposes and got together with Morgan. I'm telling her all about what I'm doing. She's like, maybe you should share this. Maybe we should make a platform to share these videos. Because as I was going through research, I was getting frustrated that other videos weren't available. Like I would email researchers and never hear a response. And how do I get these videos and they're effective, but I can't get them? So that's kind of how we combined. We created the idea together and just started going from there.
Really good. Molly, what were some of your thoughts? Morgan, what were some of your thoughts as you kind of heard your sister Molly talking about this idea and kind of the struggle, and how do we meet this need? You coming in with your kind of brain around, how to create some analytics and approaches, and kind of like, I said earlier on, kind of uniting, analytics with technology and automation and bring this together. What were some of your thoughts as you heard her talk about the need?
Yeah, I mean, I got really excited initially. We got out a big piece of white paper and started writing on it. What could we do from an automation standpoint? What could we do to collect information on what people are using and what people want? We started collaborating on different data collection techniques. So, as a BCBA, Molly and her coworkers would collect data on how effective their methods are, to see whether or not they're working. So that initially, speak sparked my interest because I was
Yes.
like, oh, data, we're collecting it. This is great. We started brainstorming all the different ways we could collect data
Yes.
and then just thinking together about a platform that we could get it out to people on.
What were the best methods that you saw existing prior to you guys creating Pickle System? What was working the best that they had?
The best that we had was basically talking to the parents and other people to figure out what the steps are in a skill. So breaking
Uh,
down the steps in a skill and then physically prompting them
yeah.
to do it. And personally, I've just always wanted to reduce the amount of physical touching involved in teaching skills. I feel like,
Mhm.
especially when they're intimate, I would prefer not to be the one, putting a pad on your underwear. I'd prefer not to be the one helping you bathe or showering. I think there's a host of
Yeah,
potential problems with that.
sure.
But unfortunately, up until now, really, there was not very many resources available for these skills, or people were individually filming themselves. But again, you're not going to do that for an intimate skill.
Yeah, I really like that idea, this whole idea of, just before we got on the show, I came in early today to work, and I paddle one man and six man outrigger canoes. And I was watching this guy do some stroke analysis and how to teach things and modeling, basically. He's one of the experts in the field. And I've always really liked the idea of visualization. We know as athletes that it creates neural pathways, and basically you're creating those neural pathways. And so you replicate what you see, and you do it practice, you do perfect practice, and you tend to do better in the skill you're trying to, replicate. So I was watching this guy do these skills, and what it does is I watch it. I'm imagining myself, do it. Or sometimes in our training, we'll have visualization of us doing proper strokes, and those things are so reinforcing. And visualization is a powerful, powerful teaching tool. But visualization on its own is freaking boring. A lot of times, we try and teach kids to visualize, and everybody sits down. And one, kids can't sit down and visualize because it's almost like meditation. You want me to do what? And
Yeah.
it's so very, very hard. But modeling something, watching something on the visualization piece is a profound way to learn. And I want to come back to that in just a second. So I love where you guys are going with this. Out of curiosity, why the name Pickle System?
Started a little bit as a joke. So as Morgan was saying earlier, we had our whiteboard out, and we're like, we need a code name to call this, while we're working on it. And she has a dog, and she had a dog toy right next to her, and it was shaped like a pickle. So we were like, okay, we'll call it Pickle for now. And then, of course, I got a little fixated on the pickle and created a what's that called?
Acronym.
Acronym. Sorry.
Yes.
I
Uh-huh.
created an acronym for it. So it is personalized, image-based content knowledge and life education system.
Oh, that's sweet. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So started from a
People
dog toy.
remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's really good. Really good. I want to talk about the different domains and skills, but give people an understanding of the what people experience when they go into this. There's going to be some video models and animated videos. They're really cool. But before I talk about the skills and domains, give folks an understanding of what the Pickle System program involves when someone comes in.
Yeah. So basically, when you get a subscription, you get access to our video library, which has over 60 different skills now, and we're adding more all the time. And you'll get the video model, which demonstrates how to do the steps. So a person with a disability or who needs help learning the skill will watch that video and then imitate from it. In addition to that, you will get a printable visual
Mm,
aid, which kind of coincides with the video model and has the steps broken down. And then you also get a data collection sheet so you can take data and track how the progress is going.
very good. Very good. Tell me about some of the domains and the skills, because I know you're looking to develop daily skills that can help increase one's independence, one's quality of life, their employment outcomes, post-school education opportunities. So share with us some of the skills and domains that you cover in the program.
You want to take it? Do you want to share more?
Sorry.
Yeah.
So different domains. We have the domestic skills. So we have things like washing a dish, cleaning things up, folding your clothes, vacuuming, those kind of skills. We have community-based skills like putting on a seatbelt, going and using a credit card at a store. And then we have the more personal care skills, which is like washing your hands, putting on deodorant, taking a shower. But I think, the one of the pieces that really sets us apart is that intimate care, because that's really
Yes.
not out there as much. So changing a pad, putting on a tampon, wiping after going to the bathroom, those
Yes.
types of skill sets. So continuing to broaden and touch on all of those different aspects is really what we're trying to do.
Really good. I know you also have one that kind of takes it into community and kind of daily life, where you're talking also about kind of, it sounds like time management, money management. I watched one on how to kind of do a card, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, say a little more about that one as well, because that's basically being out in life, outside the house, and how do you navigate life in a successful way?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these skills are crucial, right? You have
Yes.
to be able to go to the store and check out. And I
Right.
found from previous jobs where I worked with older adults that some of these life skills are just really hard to teach without being able to go there. And so if we could practice it with the video in a different setting or have that
Yes.
support out in the community, it's just really helpful to be able to practice this skill, especially for individuals who may not get the opportunity to go out there as much because of potential skill deficit.
What do
Mhm.
you recommend in terms of the methodology? What are the steps? Is it I trust that we do this first, and then we go try it out or experiment with it, and we refine it. And tell me about the methodology in this.
Yeah, we typically just start with kind of getting a baseline, see where they're at, and then
Okay.
we'll introduce the video. And basically, it's pretty straightforward. We just tell them to watch the video and
Yeah.
imitate as they're going. All of our
Yes.
videos have a pause in between each step, which
Yes.
allows you to actually do the skill as you're watching it. And it also allows you to pause it if you fall behind. But
Yes.
from in practice, we've seen that 3 seconds is enough time to complete most of the steps because they are broken down into such tiny parts. And so you watch the video, you follow along and and practice as you're watching, and then you essentially get like you did it.
I
Get some praise, get some reinforcement.
I really like that part of the videos. I was watching a couple, and there's that pause, that 3 second pause approach. I know it's part of your methodology too, but there's an encoding process that takes place in that moment where they're watching something, they're encoding it, get to practice it. There's a pause where it happens, and then we go on to the next piece of that exercise. I really like that idea of pausing in that manner.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been very effective. I've found that, you know, anyone from little kids all the way through adulthood have used it and practiced with it and learned a skill from it. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
You had, I like this idea that when we find a need out there, we have a challenge, an opportunity creatively, like you and Morgan have done, to come in and look at the resource challenges for teaching these skills. Pickle Systems is solving something pretty important. These are skills that every child has to learn. And a child with a disability or a certain learning challenge has special needs just in the learning process itself. It's not always, just watching mom and dad do something or the simple instruction. You're taking it another level, aren't you? And you're looking at a resource challenge that probably, I'm thinking, has got to make things much, much easier for the parents or caregivers or the professionals that are tasked with teaching these very important, kind of naturally thought of, but essential life skills that these kids have to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. The amount of time that is spent creating materials to teach these skills, because you're right, they do have to be explicitly taught.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you have to really focus on one skill and target each step and come at it systematically, essentially. And actually, a lot of individuals with disabilities are not just going to kind of see you in your environment and learn. They really do have to be explicitly and directly taught. And that's where our system, provides that resource, so that you don't have to spend hours making a video or making
Right.
materials, or and it's also less expensive than buying materials for every single thing. And we've just found that parents really feel like the burden has been taken off of
Oh,
them.
I'll bet.
And yeah, it's because a lot of times they don't know where to start, because um, oftentimes as parents, I think we're like, well, I just learned that. I don't remember being taught that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I don't remember being taught how to do some of these things, but I know how. But for
Yeah.
these individuals, you really do have to teach every single
Yeah.
little thing. And I think that gets overlooked a lot.
And just because you know and do it yourself without thinking, it's not always easy to teach. I remember when I first started coaching basketball, I played for a number of years. So I went back to coaching, give back, that kind of thing. And I had to demonstrate how to do a layup. That's the most basic move in basketball. And I literally had to stop and say, okay, which foot goes, and these were little kids. So I had to say left foot, right foot, elbow, arm, whatever. And I had to literally stop and think which foot goes first. But when you have these videos like that, then I think it kind of breaks it down. Then you got to think about, because just because you can do it doesn't always make you a good teacher. And you
Yeah.
got to, what
Well,
I like that you do, you kind of slow it down. Sorry, Morgan, go ahead.
exactly. No, that's exactly it. And I always use the golf analogy because I started trying to learn golf about a year ago, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And I'd go out and I'd have my husband try to teach me how to swing a golf club, right? And he's telling me all these different techniques. And then I'd go out with my dad and
Uh-huh.
he would teach me a completely different way. He'd be like, "You're doing it all wrong. Do it this way," right?
Right.
And then I went and saw an actual, golfer pro, and they taught me the correct way to swing the
There you
golf
go.
club. And so now I
Mhm.
had three different tactics. And every time I went and played, I was taught by different people, giving me different
Yeah.
critiques. And so having that one place where you're like, okay, this is the way we're going to learn it. And you can take it with you wherever you go, whether it's school, it's home, it's,
Mhm.
wherever. Um, that's kind of what we were really wanting to get at for this, because you can't do that when you have someone verbally giving you different advice every place you're trying to learn it.
I like that. That's the idea of that kind of that one place. I know that there is a methodology. It's not like it's not just one place, but it's one place where these skills under these three domains are taught well. You're going to not just be functional with this, but you're going to be successful in the skills that you're learning. So this is kind of the right way to swing the golf club, right way to do the layup, et cetera. This is the right way to do it. And it's fundamental, it's basic. Talk a little bit about your methodology and the research that you found going into this. Includes the benefit of modeling, like we've been talking about, in the learning process, and the encoding that can take place through the visualization process, and that 3-second video response methodology. Anchor us in some of the research behind your approach to teaching.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of research out there looking at video models and what we call video prompting, which is essentially what we're doing. It's
Yes.
a video model with a video prompt with the 3-second pause. There has been other research out there that has shown this is effective. However, not for menstrual care, not for
Right.
showering, for for a lot of these intimate ones, and not
Yes.
shared. So that's kind of where that issue is, where it's like
Yes.
you're not sharing. Okay, we know it's effective, but nobody can make this and nobody has access to it.
Right.
And so that's kind of what started the research. So we knew that teaching with modeling, students can learn. We can break down steps into tiny parts. We know that that's effective as well for teaching individuals with autism skills. And kind of earlier, as I was saying, how what I used to do before Pickle was I would just break down the skill into tiny
Yes.
steps and then physically prompt, gesturally prompt, and do it that way.
Yep.
So this is kind of going more into the modeling realm, where after viewing it and practicing it repetitively, they're able to learn. the skill.
Yeah. I have family members who are in the nursing field, and watching them go through school and prepare for their exams. And they do a really nice job of providing videos, from putting in a catheter to, how to set up, an EKG, system of electronic nodes, et cetera, taking temperatures, how to swipe everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a really nice job of really with live models. So it's a little more intimate, a little more personal. And you can't do that with children, per se. But I love the idea that you're doing the same thing and providing a wonderful learning opportunity, both for the teacher, whether it's a parent or a professional, to see how to maybe model these things and walk them through it, but also for the person that's learning it. It's very nicely done and tastefully done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Morgan, I know that you're the data analytics whiz, kind of in the duo here. And how are you measuring several things here? How are you measuring the efficacy of your program? What types of data are you collecting? And what are you finding in terms of your outcome measures?
Yeah, so in terms of the videos themselves, Molly is finishing her PhD on those videos. So I apologize.
That's okay. Go back over that again. Would you like me to cue that back up?
Yeah, one second.
People outside.
That's okay. We can do this in post, so don't worry about it.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. Would you like me to tee up the question again, or you got it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd be happy to. Sure. Thanks for asking. So Morgan, you're the data analytics whiz, and I'm curious about a couple of things on your side. How are you measuring the efficacy of your program, and what type of data do you collect, and what are you finding in terms of your outcome measures?
Yeah, so in terms of the videos themselves, Molly is completing her PhD on the menstrual care videos and the effectiveness of those. But then in terms of just the success of the platform overall, we are looking at video views. So seeing which ones are watched the most, which ones are being watched full to completion. So from start to finish, is if there's any, people aren't finishing them, why, trying to figure that out. And then we're also sending out emails to people. So we're looking at click rates and different measurements there to see how effective those are. And looking at our advertisements. So seeing how many impressions we're getting, how many clicks we're getting, and then looking at, click through sign up. So where are people getting hung up? Or once they click and see an ad, are they going all the way through to purchase?
Very cool. I love some of the analytic piece. Basically, it's just basically saying, hey, the medicine's working, and it sounds like this is, we know from different models in other fields that modeling, visualization, the prompting you're talking about, these are all research methods of really helping with the learning process, encoding, retention, recall. Those are all essential pieces in that learning process. It'd be kind of a fun little sidebar here if you could go with my research interest, kind of the rate, if you ever had a control group and an experimental group where they're doing the old-fashioned way versus what you're doing, and maybe the rate and the thoroughness of the skill acquisition, how fast they learn this, and also how thoroughly they learn the skill from the back in the day way, and what you guys are doing here. Be kind of a curious, and maybe you already have, but be kind of a curious.
You just gave me my next study idea.
I think, but basically, how are people doing it without using your product, and how fast is a skill learned, and how thorough is that skill learned, versus, hey, we got a pretty cool pickle system here that you can plug and play, and it could be more quickly learned, more thoroughly learned, and probably more thoroughly and comprehensively, put together. So just a little tangent there. Sorry about that, but
no, that's very helpful.
I like what you're doing.
I want to do the study now.
That would be great.
Go find my participants right now.
That'd be fun. Well, who's your customer base, and what is the feedback that you're hearing from those using the Pickle system?
So we're targeting BCBA, so behavioral analysts, parents, and caregivers at schools, so special education teachers as well. Right now, we're really at about 50-50 in terms of signups between parents and our BCBA agents special education teachers kind of combined into a grouping.
Very good. And the feedback? What are you hearing?
Feedback has been awesome. This is a really tight-knit community, so it's
Nice.
actually it's been really special and really cool to see. We have on our website a link to share feedback with us and give any recommendations for different skills that they want to put on the site. So we're getting a lot of people just reaching out to us saying, hey, we want this skill next, we want this one.
Oh, nice.
And when we post on social media as well, people have been asking for new skills, additional ones, and providing feedback that way as well. So I'm really thankful for the community that we've seen so far.
That's a nice interplay with, here's what we have to meet your needs, and also what are some of your needs that we can actually come meet. I love that interplay. Really nice. So as you hear feedback from parents, I would imagine, just teaching skills, period, can be stressful and challenging just in parenting in general, but maybe with some of the challenges and disabilities that pose a unique challenge and maybe an oftentimes frustrated learning process. What are you hearing in terms of the benefit of these videos, maybe relieving some of the pressure from parents, maybe even some of the interactional pressure, stress, that they experience? What's the feedback you're hearing?
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of this. It relieves me. It reduced my stress. I'm not worried about this as much anymore. It also kind of takes off that like mom's telling me to do something, and mom is forcing me, and dad's telling me, and I don't want to do it because mom told me to do it. It's more we're watching this video to learn, and it's the
Right.
video is teaching you. I'm not as involved. I'm not telling you step by step what to do or nagging, feeling like I'm always on top of you for every single step. It really does increase that independence, and they feel more empowered to complete the skill because mom and dad are not constantly on top of them for it. So it's definitely reduced stress. It's reduced fear around, especially those intimate skills. I've had parents tell me, I was so worried about having to teach menstrual care. I didn't know where to start. I didn't
Yeah.
know if she would get it. I didn't know what to do. Right.
Right.
And just hearing that feedback has been so great, and to know that parents are less stressed and kids are also learning skills in a way that is not frustrating to them too.
We've talked about children thus far and the benefits of having a parent kind of join you in the learning of these skills, these basically these essential daily adult living skills that we have to learn as children, and the kind of developmental process that takes. But let's say that I'm a young adult, let's say on the spectrum, but I need to learn these skills, or maybe even an adult that still hasn't managed some of these in an effective way or developed them in an effective way. How about the benefit of your thoughts around growing my own independence by being able to implement these skills in my life through these videos?
Yeah, absolutely. We have actually had a couple of adults use them
Nice.
independently, and their feedback has been that they really like that they can pause it while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And they've actually like increased their independence immensely from just watching these videos. One adult told me that, you know, she just needs that little reminder. She just can't always remember every step in these things. And so having the video just really helps her just be able to complete a whole skill without having to stop and think about what do I do next, and asking for help or having to be reminded from somebody. She really gained a lot of independence just from having this video on her phone and getting to watch it in that way.
That's
So it
exciting.
definitely can increase adults' independence. They can watch it on their own. Also, I don't think we mentioned, but none of our videos have audio. So it actually makes it a little more private. Nobody needs to know you're working on that skill. You can just have it in the
Yeah.
bathroom or, or wherever you are in the group home at the table, and nobody needs to know that you're actually learning necessarily or have a deficit or need that little extra assistance.
Really nice. I appreciate that. I could see as an adult where do I go when I recognize that I've got some deficit? How do I ask for that help? Maybe I'm embarrassed, or otherwise, maybe there's not anybody available to me. But this is the bridge here that allows them in their adult years as well to increase their level of functioning, increase their success in the world, maybe even branch out in new areas that maybe before they didn't feel the skill, acquisition was there, or the skill confidence was there. What a nice way to do that. In terms of maybe Morgan, I'll kind of hand this over to you, and Molly, you can obviously jump in, but what are you guys thinking in terms of growth for Pickle Systems, and what are you envisioning for the next steps in addition just to simply new videos? Anything else you're thinking about?
Yeah, for sure. So right now we have 4 different characters with 4 different skin tones on the site. But we would like to see in the future the ability for users to create a character. So creating something that
Nice.
resembles themselves a little bit more. Um, so that's one thing we want to do. We also want to create an app so that it's a little bit easier to access on your phone, where you could use it without Wi-Fi as well. So that's something down the road we hope to get to. And then some just more support functions. So we want you to be able to talk with a BCBA or someone to get assistance on how to reinforce these videos and help them make them more effective as you're trying to learn them throughout. So that's a big one. And I think our last one is really more enhancing our data collection capabilities. So right now, the data collection piece is manual, but we want to make it all automated within the app so that you can truly see your progress and how quickly you're
Nice.
learning a skill and what skill comes next, to see you grow over time.
That's wonderful, guys. I love the idea of personalizing. The more personalized we can visualize something, the more we can see ourselves doing. I love the idea of almost like you're saying, kind of create your own avatar, that reflects you. And that's the more we personalize it that way, the more that, that encoding those neural pathways get laid down in a very personal, very specific way. And I love the idea of providing people feedback that can be measured so they see their gains. And that's encouraging. That's motivating.
Mhm.
Really nice future visions. Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Hey, I know we're kind of beginning to wind down here in our time today, but I would love for you guys to speak to our listeners who might have a young person with disabilities in their life and give them a takeaway message, would you? As to how they may benefit from, your Pickle System, approach and your program, what they can experience if they kind of go online with you to be a part of it. Give them a sense of the various skills domains and how it can enhance their life, and give them a word of encouragement, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage anyone who has a child, adult, person in their life, friend that has a disability or who needs help learning a skill, especially any of these daily living skills that we have available, to sign up. And you can always ask us for another video if you need something. And it's always great to hear feedback. Hearing that this can take any sort of burden off of you is
Yes.
what we hope to do. And so if you would sign up, and just hopefully it'll help you learn and share with anybody that has a person in their life with disability or who could benefit. That would be really
Nice.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Morgan, any thought on just kind of a word as a takeaway?
Yeah, I completely echo what Molly said. Please share, get the word out. We, definitely welcome any and all feedback. So
Yeah.
whether if it's a skill set that we don't have or a new idea, we will welcome them all. So we just want to make lives easier for everyone. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I think we probably could have spent, and I probably could have brought in a little bit more of the idea of the burden, the challenge, and the level of effort that goes into teaching. Normal parenting is challenging, and
Mhm.
all the skills that we're required to teach our kids by the time they launch at 18. Make sure you wash your hands, to all the other intimate skills, to all of that. How do you, do a checking account? How do you do a debit card? All these things.
Yes.
And but the burden in that with somebody who has some unique challenges is significant. And I love the idea of taking the burden off. You're saying, Molly, making it just even a wee bit easier, as you're saying, Morgan. That's significant. And life is already challenging enough. But if you can bring in a product like yours, a program like yours, it becomes all the more, kind of fluid in that learning process. So really nicely done. Hey, we would love to have people follow up after the show with Pickle System to learn more about you, the program. How can people get in touch with you?
Our website is picklesystem.com. And on there, we have a subscription newsletter that you can sign up for. And we send out whenever we have new skills or any updates that we're doing. So feel free to sign up for that. Also, I believe our contact information is on the site as well. And as always, please feel free to email us. We try to return as quickly as possible.
Really nice. Well, ladies, congratulations on what you're doing. What a wonderful product and contribution to not just the field, but to the lives of people really needing to teach skills, but making it so much easier and straightforward. Congratulations and really well done. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah,
So
thanks
nice
for
to
having
have you here. Also want to thank you to our listeners for dropping by and joining Molly, Morgan, and me. It's always great to have you with us. Regarding our episode today, I want to remind you that it and an archive of all of our other episodes and resource materials can be found on our webpage at triadhq.com/BHT. Thanks again for being with us on the show, and we look forward to having you back with us next time on Behavioral Health Today.